Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So it has been a little while since I've given you guys a little bit more of a thorough update video on my Land Cruiser Heritage Edition ownership. So I've done a lot of videos before on my Land Cruisers. As many of you know who frequent my channel, I've owned a couple prior to this one. So I've talked about them at length plenty collectively, but this is legitimately my last opportunity to own one for an extended time if I so choose, right? So you guys know that they're no longer offering the Land Cruiser in the United States. This is my last opportunity to hold on to it, and that is the plan. And I know I said that with the Raptor too, but that was before we learned of our upcoming move to northern Colorado this fall. So we downsized and put ourselves in a position again to hopefully land a really good deal on our next house and put plenty down to make that a worthwhile thing for us. So we are still planning to keep a hold of this. This is the goal still. So I want to talk through what my positive experiences with this particular one have been. I'll also highlight the few small pitfalls that I've experienced along the way too over the last 5,000 miles with this. I just recently, yesterday, took this into Toyota to do the $5,000 mile maintenance on it. Normally through Toyota Care, I mean, you're going to be getting just your tires rotated and they check the fluid. So it's kind of I don't know, almost a silly check-in. So I purposely make it a point to make it to do an oil change at the first 5,000 miles. Some of you may disagree with that, and Toyota recommends that you can wait till 10,000 miles. But in my personal opinion, if it is the first oil change, that's when the engine is just starting to get broken in a little bit more. I think for peace of mind, I do it. So I opt to have my 10,000 mile maintenance at 5,000 miles. So you still don't pay for it, but you just kind of bump it up early, if that makes sense. So that's just my approach to it. And again, it really is just for peace of mind's sake. So again, without totally beating a dead horse, I will briefly highlight the things I absolutely love about it. Okay, and that is, of course, peace of mind, reliability with this thing, this 5.7 liter V8. The fact that this is totally produced out of Japan, out of their primary plant out there, is again another peace of mind factor. That it is, the quality control of this is bar none, and I can comfortably say that. I've owned a lot of vehicles, and just how well built this thing is, it blows my mind a little bit. However, there is one thing on this one that I've noticed. Only on this one. Out of my previous two I'd never noticed it, but there's an interior trim piece that pops out every day. So it's kind of strange. I'll show it to you here in a minute, but that is the only quote-unquote quality control piece, if you can even call it that, that I've noticed with that. So I'll show you that here in a minute. But collectively, everything, just the gap in all the panels, everything is absolutely perfect and just extremely well built and overbuilt, and you can comfortably say that. Just everything. And magnetic gray metallic has never been a favorite color of mine, but just having owned it for a little bit now, again for the second time, I really have grown to appreciate it. Again, it's not the best lighting to really show you, but I think it is the color with the most amount of depth. Different angles, and if it's well maintained, which you guys know this is ceramic coated, I think it really pops, especially in different lights. For the record, the AC is running. Let's sort of get some runoff below here. But yeah, so magnetic gray metallic, I love that. I love the color. I love the reliability of this thing. I love just how smooth it is. And it's smoother when you keep the stock, I think, what are they, the Dunlops, the tires that come on it. If you keep them on, it's even smoother feeling, of course. But if you're really going to fit the look of a Land Cruiser, I think it's really important to slap on some more aggressive looking tires. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of these BF Goodrich KO2s with the white lettering out. I think it just matches especially with the classic Toyota Land Cruiser badge up here. I think it all kind of comes together very nicely in my very biased opinion. Let me know what you think. So again, so reliability, just how smooth it is. A lot of people make this comparison, and I heard it before I even bought one, but it's like driving a bank vault, like an armored car. One of those armored bank vault vehicles. It really is like that. So I mean, it's super heavy. A lot of body roll when you're turning it. It feels the weight. I mean, right around 3 tons. This is a super heavy vehicle. I think even heavier technically than that Raptor that I just had too. And the Raptor's massive by comparison, but just kind of tells you just how overbuilt everything is. And so when you look underneath it, and I mentioned this before, when you look underneath the Land Cruiser 200 series, and when you look underneath it next to a Toyota Tundra or a Toyota Sequoia, you can just see how all the lower control arms, upper control, everything is just thicker and beefier within the Land Cruiser. So you can tell, the Japanese take a whole lot of pride in this vehicle, and it really comes across, in my opinion. So, and I remember one of the things I disliked the most at the very beginning when I first saw this in person. I remember just thinking, what the heck? And probably like a lot of people, when you see it for the first time, and if you're don't really know much about Land Cruisers, it's easy to scoff at that price tag. Because with the MSRP of $89,000 and some change, it is easy to think, wow, what a freaking ripoff for this glorified Highlander, right? So I mean, it's easy to think, just given the shape of it, it's not that, it doesn't have wide body flares or anything. Whereas a lot of modern vehicles, they get sporty with the flares and body lines, whereas this is a very, very much old platform. The 200 series is very dated at this point. And you see it especially with the taillights. And that's the part that bothered me the most. Just how huge and early 2000s that looked. But even at nighttime, just the LED lighting within it, it actually looks super nice. And again, this is me. I think this whole entire thing is really an acquired taste. At this point, you don't get the roll up, roll down rear window like you get in the Sequoia and the Tundra, but you do get the split hatch, which is pretty cool, right? So it pops up. I'll show you real quick. I'll show you the carnage within it. So you pop the button there, and the super slow, and you can turn that off to where you just pulled up, for the record. Then you release it here, and then you just pop it back and drop. So I love that tailgate. We use that all the time, and admittedly we use it as a diaper changing table for my youngest. So but this is where it really differs from the 4Runner. The 4Runner, although plenty of space in a 4Runner, this has much more headroom, so it's just obviously higher, and of course just a little bit wider, but a little bit more depth to it, so you can get a ton of stuff in here, especially when you take out the rear little cover there, right? You can pop that out real easily. But here's a glimpse of the dad life here, with all the stuff kind of thrown in there. But we really appreciate this little bed there, or tailgate, I should say. Then you pop this here. I personally prefer the look of it when it has a roof rack on it. So you guys know it normally comes with the Yakima Mega Warrior roof basket. I like that look of it. I think it looks better, and it makes it different. It sets it apart from a standard Land Cruiser, that comes with the Heritage Edition. So I like the look of it. However, it truly is impractical when it comes to parking in any parking garage. So this is already kind of high. You guys know we have a perch lift on the front, a leveling kit up front, so it brings it up, I think, 1.5 inches is what it brought it up. Then you put on these larger 285, I think 265, let me double check. Yeah, 285, 65, 18 BF Goodrich KO2s, so those are a taller tire, of course, than the stock Dunlops, so we bring it up already a couple inches. So when you slap on that additional 6 inches of roof rack up here, it's just not conducive for any parking garage of any sort. So it is nice. Same too when you go through like a touchless car wash. You guys know I go through touchless. I can actually do that without that roof basket up there. So I'm back and forth on it. I like the look of it, but is it worth having it on there if it means not being able to park at some events and whatnot, or parking if you got to park it in a garage at work? It really doesn't make it too conducive for you. I'll real quickly highlight the wave tops for you as far as what I've done to it. You guys know I put on the Expel Premium Ultimate, I forget exactly what it's called, but the Expel front paint protection film on the entire front end of the vehicle, to include the A-pillars here up to the front of the glass, top of the glass up front. Has 20% ceramic window tint all around the sides, and 50% ceramic window tint up front, which I have become a huge advocate for that. I didn't think I would be. I didn't think I'd care that much, but it really does lessen the heat within the cabin of the vehicle a noticeable amount. So I really am an advocate for that. So 20%, 50% up front. Then of course the KO2s, we swap that out, and that Oh yeah, and then a ceramic coating on the entire vehicle as well. And that is everything I've done to it. So not a whole lot, really, right? And honestly, I think I'm going to keep it that way. There's not much more else I would want to do. Perhaps just a roof rack and sliders down the road. I'm still debating on which ones I want to do. Probably Westcott Designs, but more to follow on that. We'll see. So I want to talk through a couple of, we'll start up front here, then we'll pop inside, okay? So a few of the minor pitfalls, and this is no fault of anybody except for my own, really. So we've got a rock chip, a small little meh, that happens to everybody, of course, but these windshields are not cheap. So that's one. I'll show you this other thing here. So right here, this pops out. So you gotta like pop it back up. But I've noticed that as an interior trim piece that is, for the first time ever, I've noticed, as far as on the Land Cruisers, I don't know, an issue. We'll call it that. But altogether, extremely happy with it, extremely pleased with it, enjoying it every day. I'm interested to see what the values of these do. If they continue to go up, of course, gas mileage on them sucks. You get about 14, 15 miles per gallon, which is, you know, on par with the Toyota Tundra, of course, with the same 5.7 liter V8, or the previous generation Tundra, I should say, at this point, right? But I don't think that, I mean, nobody buys a Land Cruiser with that in mind. Nobody cares about fuel economy if you're buying a Land Cruiser, I would argue. So I love that. And honestly, just the look of it. So every time I park it, it truly is the biggest sign if you bought the right vehicle. If you look back at your vehicle, every time you park it and you're walking into a store, or your work, or wherever, I always look back at this. So I'm just obsessed with that front end. I think it just looks awesome, especially with the dip in the hood. Again, this is an acquired taste. It truly is, and I totally get that. Because, like I said, when I first saw it, I was not about this. The one thing cool about getting a color that isn't the midnight black metallic is you can actually see on the Heritage Edition, you get the black mirror caps. And you can actually notice the difference, of course, whereas if you got the midnight black metallic, you just got black mirror caps on a black vehicle. So any other color, iconic silver, white, blizzard pearl, yeah, you can actually notice it. So I love this. I do think it is the best color combination. I've always liked the black on it with the bronze wheels. I think that was always kind of a fitting look. But when it comes to exclusivity, this and iconic silver are the two rarest colors, only offered in 2021. For those of you who don't know, the Heritage Edition was offered in 2020 as well as 2021, limited to 1,200 units each of the years, but less units, of course, for the magnetic gray metallic and iconic silver for 21. So in a world that has a ton of hybrid vehicles and everybody's shifting to electric, I just really have grown to appreciate this. And for that same reason, I never could really totally fall in love with that Raptor, my Gen 3 Raptor that I just had. Although a ton of fun, it really was the kick in the pants driving that thing. And the interior is just next level when it comes to comfort and all the creature comforts and tech. Everything was truly next level. And for 9 out of 10 people, like, that's going to be the ideal dream vehicle for sure. And when you get into this, only that 1 out of 10 people are going to like sit in here and be like, wow, this is really cool. Just the overall comfort of the leather, the seating position, the commanding view of the road. Maybe these are all dad traits, but just the comfort of driving this, I think, is unmatched. If you can deal with the terrible fuel economy, I think this is always going to be a #1 draft pick for a lot of folks out there. Not to mention, when it comes to safety, like I said, you're driving a bank vault or an armored car, and it truly feels like it. So I love knowing that if my wife drives this for the most part, I like knowing that she has my 3 kiddos in a car. She is going to have better chances, of course, of faring well in case of an accident. So that to me is worth paying a little bit more at the pump. Not to mention the fact that we're not taking this into the shop and getting things worked on, recalls every 2 months, I think is another huge reason. I've actually already got a piece of mail for the Raptor calling for a recall. So I only had the thing for a couple months, and actually I had sold it and I already got a recall letter for something small. But again, I never have to really worry about that with the Land Cruiser here. So yeah, so maybe not the greatest update video for you guys, but truly love it. Love how smooth it is. The family loves it. Again, I love the fact that it's a Toyota at the end of the day. If it was I would never feel right telling someone, I drive a Porsche Cayenne or a Range Rover. I would never feel right saying that to somebody, but I like saying, yeah, I drive a Toyota Land Cruiser. I always feel really good about that. So, at any rate, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if this is the one I should truly keep or not, and maybe if I should be eyeballing something different. Appreciate you watching as always. Till next time.